Okay, welcome back to my second video, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the setup. So over here I have my project folder, and I just call it an API weather reporter because that's what we're building over here. And I got a couple of files over here. So I'm going to start with talking about the requirements.txt file. So in this file, I'm just putting in the libraries that I want to be downloaded. So I could just run this file in my terminal, and Python is going to download the request library, a Python.environment library, and the rest of the libraries. And just to tell you a little bit about what these libraries do, the request library lets Python send HTTP requests to APIs or web services. The Python environment allows your Python app to look at your or read your environments file so that your secrets or whatever you put in that file is not hard coding into your main code, because that's a security risk. So I have to specify the version for OpenAI and HTTPX, because when I was trying to build the Docker container, the version of HTTPX that comes with Dockers wasn't compatible with the default OpenAI version that I was trying to use. So that was leading to different errors because certain arguments weren't being able to be used for OpenAI. So I had to do that. Moving on, we have the utils file right over here. So I first started off by just importing the libraries that I'm going to be using: the request, JSON, and the OS, and the rest of them. I created three variables: one for my base URL, my API key, which is actually in the .environment file. I also created a input variable, so when a user enters in the city they want to search up, it's going to be passed through this function down over here. And what this function is going to do is it's going to reach out to the Open Weather API, and it's going to actually get the live information of that city and put it into JSON format over here. So over here you can actually see that I filtered out the response that I'll be getting. I don't like looking at JSON already, so when I first saw the response, I'm like, okay, this is way too much. So let me filter it down. So you can see that it's filtered down using a dictionary. And at the end, if the code or if the response gets a error message, which would be like, what is it? Like a 404 error, it's going to go through this else statement over here, and it'll print out the error that you got, and it will say, please check your API key or city name. Okay, so in the main file, that's where all the magic happens. Over here, you see that I am pulling my function and the variable, which contains the input that the user put in, the city that they were trying to find out weather information on. And I'm also using the OpenAI to use the client over here. And I got the .env. If you hear me say env or environment, they're the same thing in this context. But yes, I'm pulling these. And over here, I have the load underscore .env. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull my my secrets or my variables or whatever you want to call it from my .env file. Like I said, so it's not hard coded into our code. And over here, I'm creating the OpenAI client so I can use it down over here. And I made a variable that I will be passing over here. And okay, so this is actually the fun part right over here. I'm using the client chat completions method from OpenAI to send a prompt to GPT-4. Over here, you see that a role is being specified for the system. And I said, you are a funny weather reporter, but keep things short and simple. This is making GPT-4 take on a character. That's his role. That's how he is supposed to act. So when he gives me a response, it needs to be in the form of a weather reporter, and he needs to keep things short and simple. So over here, this is the user's role. We're going to be asking for a short weather report based on the city that was inputted by the user. And what we're looking for is we're going to be looking for the temperature and the weather information. And at the end, you see that I said, please make it a funny joke. Then we're just going to print it out over here with this last line over here of code. And I'll show you guys how this works right now. Oh, also, the reason why these are highlighted or underscored in yellow is because that I was doing this on my other system, and I just pulled this from GitHub just to make the video on it. So I have to install everything. So I have to install the OpenAI, .env, request, all that. That's the good thing about the requirements.txt file. I can just go to my terminal and run that, and everything's going to install. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so you want to come over here to the terminal, and you just want to make sure that the requirements.txt file is in the directory that you're going to run the command in. So, and I actually just realized I'm missing a very important file. I do not have my .env file over here, so I'm just going to create one right now. And I'm going to paste in my key. First, I'll paste in these. Let me grab this. And this is because when I pushed it to GitHub, I've actually put the .env file in the get ignore file. So whenever you do that, whenever you push this onto GitHub and you put it in this file, GitHub is going to ignore that and not push it over. The reason why you want to put the .env file into the get ignore file is because you don't want it traveling over the internet where your secrets are exposed to the public traffic. Okay, so now that we got that situated, I'm going to hit Python main to run our main file. So now it's going to prompt us to enter in a city. So I'm going to do Chicago. That's actually somewhere I want to go this summer. Let's see what it does for us. Good evening, Chicago. It's a chilly 53.73 Fahrenheit, and the clouds are overcast. So overcast. I don't know how that makes any sense. Even the sun called in sick. Oh, okay, I get it now. Joke of the day. Why don't clouds ever get lost? Because they're always taking the high road. See, GPT-4 got a little bit of jokes. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like how you can, engineer it to act a certain way or take on a certain role. Yeah, just leave your comments in the comment section. I want to know your thoughts, what you guys are building. If you guys are trying to, build the same thing or something similar and where you guys got stuck on. I'm going to leave a link to my repo so you guys have all these files. So maybe if you want to follow along, you could. Also try to leave some resources I use to build out some of these things that I'm doing. So I'm going to end the video right here. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.